The year is 1944. The world is engulfed in World War II. Nazi Germany holds a suffocating grip on Europe. The war has left an indelible mark on the globe. Millions have perished. The Soviet Union bears the brunt of the Nazi war machine. Their soldiers fight with incredible resilience. The Soviets are slowly pushing the Germans back. The cost of victory is high. The United States has joined the fight. American factories are working day and night. The Allies have liberated North Africa. The war is far from over. The situation in 1944 was tense. The outcome of the war was uncertain. The Allies had to make a decisive move. The liberation of Europe depended on it. By 1944, the Soviet Union had been fighting the Nazis for almost 3 years. They had suffered immense losses and desperately needed relief. The Western Allies, led by the United States and Great Britain, recognized the need to open a second front in Europe. This would force Germany to fight a two-front war, dividing their resources and easing the pressure on the Soviets. Opening a second front was not just a matter of military strategy, it was also a political necessity. The leaders of the United States and Great Britain, President Franklin D. Roosevelt and Prime Minister Winston Churchill, understood the importance of demonstrating their commitment to the Soviet Union. Failure to do so could have had significant consequences for the alliance and the future course of the war. The Western Allies had already liberated North Africa from Axis control and were making progress in Italy. But a decisive blow against Germany would require a large-scale invasion of Nazi-occupied Europe. The question was where and when to strike. The decision to invade France was a calculated risk. The stakes were incredibly high. A successful invasion would be a major turning point in the war. However, failure could have had disastrous consequences for the Allies. The invasion of Nazi-occupied France, codenamed Operation Overlord, was an undertaking of unprecedented scale and complexity. Millions of troops, thousands of ships, and a vast array of equipment were involved in the operation. The logistical challenges were enormous. General Dwight D. Eisenhower, the Supreme Allied Commander in Europe, oversaw the planning of the invasion. His team spent months studying maps, analyzing German defenses, and developing a strategy for the assault. The success of the invasion would depend on meticulous planning and precise execution. The Allies knew that surprise was essential to their success. To achieve this, they implemented a sophisticated deception plan known as Operation Fortitude. This involved creating dummy installations, feeding false information to German intelligence, and using double agents to mislead the enemy. The deception plan was remarkably effective. The Germans believed that the main Allied landing would take place at Pas-de-Calais, the narrowest point between England and France. This belief tied up German troops and resources in the wrong location, leaving the actual landing beaches relatively lightly defended. Section 4. Landing on the beaches. The Allied assault begins. In the early hours of June 6, 1944, the Allied invasion force set sail from England toward the coast of Normandy, France. The operation began with airborne assaults by American, British, and Canadian paratroopers. These brave soldiers were tasked with securing key bridges and disrupting German communications and reinforcements. As dawn broke, the largest naval armada in history approached the Normandy coastline. Thousands of Allied troops aboard landing craft prepared to storm the beaches. The fate of Europe rested on their shoulders. The landings took place at 5 beaches, codenamed Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, and Sword. Each beach presented its own unique challenges. The beaches were heavily defended by German troops, who fought fiercely to repel the invaders. The fighting on the beaches was intense and brutal. Allied troops faced a barrage of machine gun fire, artillery bombardment, and mortar attacks. The casualties were heavy, but the Allies pressed on, their determination fueled by the knowledge that the liberation of Europe depended on their success. Section 5. A leap into darkness. The paratroopers' mission. In the hours leading up to the main landings, thousands of Allied paratroopers boarded transport planes in England. Their mission was to parachute behind enemy lines in the dark of night and secure key objectives before the main invasion force arrived. These brave soldiers faced an uncertain and dangerous task. The paratroopers were scattered over a wide area due to poor weather and navigation difficulties. Many landed miles from their intended drop zones and had to fight their way through enemy territory to reach their objectives. Despite these challenges, the paratroopers displayed incredible courage and determination. One of the most critical missions was the capture of Pegasus Bridge, a vital crossing point over the Caen Canal. British paratroopers, led by Major John Howard, successfully secured the bridge in a daring glider assault. This action prevented German reinforcements from reaching the beaches and proved to be a crucial factor in the Allied success. The paratroopers played a vital role in the success of the D-Day landings. Their actions disrupted German communications, delayed reinforcements, and sowed confusion among the enemy. Their courage and sacrifice paved the way for the main Allied assault on the beaches of Normandy. Section 6. A day of courage and sacrifice, facing the German defenses. The German defenders on the beaches of Normandy fought with tenacity and skill. They were well-equipped and well-trained, and they were determined to defend their positions to the death. The Allies faced a formidable enemy. The heaviest fighting occurred at Omaha Beach, where American troops faced a particularly determined German defense. The beaches were heavily mined and defended by machine gun nests, artillery, and mortar emplacements. The initial waves of American troops suffered heavy casualties. Despite the fierce resistance, the Allies gradually gained a foothold on the beaches. Naval gunfire provided crucial support, pounding German positions and clearing the way for the advancing troops. Slowly but surely, the Allies pushed inland, securing the beachheads and establishing a foothold in France. By the end of D-Day, June 6, 1944, the Allies had landed over 150,000 troops on the beaches of Normandy. It had been a day of incredible courage, sacrifice, and loss. The Allied victory had come at a high price, with thousands killed or wounded. However, the invasion had been successful. The Allies had established a foothold in France, and the liberation of Europe from Nazi tyranny had begun. Section 7. Turning the Tide, D-Day's Enduring Legacy. D-Day, June 6, 1944, marked a pivotal moment in World War II. The successful invasion of Normandy began the end for Nazi Germany. It was a turning point in the war. The Second Front relieved pressure on the Soviet Union. Germany had to fight a two-front war, weakening their defenses. The psychological impact of D-Day was profound. The Allied victory showed Nazi Germany was not invincible. It inspired resistance movements across Europe. The D-Day landings led to the liberation of France. The Battle of Normandy raged for weeks. However, the tide had turned. The Allies were determined to see the war through. D-Day was a pivotal moment in the fight against Nazi tyranny. It was a testament to the courage and sacrifice of the Allied forces. The legacy of D-Day continues to inspire generations.